it's necessary to have her
hosting it. It ain't nobody there.
It's like y'all be an extra.
I'm gonna get
for these little 10 people, 10, 15 people there.
And I feel the same way. Y'all gonna check me. Y'all gonna be mad at me. I feel the same way about these baby showers. These gender reveal parties. Ain't but 80 y'all motherfuckers there. Just pass out the goddamn game. Just play the motherfucking game. You don't really even need a goddamn host for that. Because ain't nobody there really. And I feel like, honestly, it don't make no sense. Now, I can see if Letitia, the one who hosts these brunches, if she didn't have no personality really. She has just as much personality as the one she's getting to host. She has personality,
but she doesn't have, like, proper speaking skills.
Well, I mean...
but at the same time, I don't feel like... Because it's just them.
It's just them.
If she was at an actual, like, convention or something...
That's like us having something here and I'm like, George, can you host? They'd be like, nigga...
Like, you know what I'm saying? Right. So I'm like, if it was like 30 to 50 people, 100 people, I can understand that. But it's like 10 of y'all. Like, this...
If you need if it's so many people that you need a microphone for everybody to hear you, you need a host. If not, you need a fucking host.
They had a banquet.
That's a good rule. Y'all write that down.
What happened?
If you need a microphone to speak to everybody in the room, then you need a host.
Yeah.
If everybody can hear you at this one table, you don't need a host.
That was literally a banquet style table that maybe fit with 14 to 16 people.
You didn't need a host.
So
at all.
It was a lot.
It was stupid.
And
our host is now gonna speak.
And these affirmations, I feel like they're only for Letitia. I don't feel, maybe Marie. Outside of those two, nobody else struggling with it. So it's like to keep giving it, and they're so pointless.
Her and Marie could go hold hands any day of the week and tell each other they're beautiful.
They need to.
And they smart. And I is important. And I what is it on the...
Smart.
I is smart. I is so I is pretty. And
kind, yeah.
I is kind.
All of it. They ain't nothing.
I is a Belle.
Yeah, they rude.
I is a Bernstein Belle.
Marie is rude as fuck.
I don't like Bernstein Belle.
She give me crazy.
You want to? Well, we right at it now. We can talk about this stupid brunch. Okay. At first, she introduced this old church-looking lady with this church hat on, Martha Davis, whatever her name
Dorothy.
Is it Dorothy?
It's Dorothy. Yeah, that's what it is.
I promise you that woman said Martha.
It's Miss Dorothy. Yeah.
We're going.
Dorothy Davis. That's what it is. I knew Martha didn't sound right. Dorothy Davis.
Go back and watch. I wrote it down as soon as they said it. It is Martha Davis.
It's Dorothy.
We're going to go back and watch. I'm trying to tell you. I wrote it right down when she said it. Because I did not want to skip this bitch name. Who over here like she got her straight out the nursing home for this brunch.
Listen.
That one bad like you creep in there.
And then the councilman, Mr. DeKeither,
these names.
You know.
These names. These are Mississippi names.
What she's doing, what Letitia is doing, and who she's like powering up with, I applaud her. Because these are heavy hitters in that area.
Right.
But you have to know the lane that you're in. You have to know the audience. And you have to know the people that you bringing in. She knew Marie was going to sabotage her event. And you had too many prominent people there to allow it to happen. So that's why I'm upset with you, Letitia.
I feel like sometimes you come out better. Not inviting your friends into every space. And I believe in that. Because there's certain spaces that George would be in that I would not want to attend.
And vice versa. Because if it's somewhere I don't feel comfortable, I already have a vibe, people know I'm going to act a fool. There's no changing it. Like I'm just, I'm activating the food.
Right. I'm
ready. Let's go.
Certain people, certain lanes, I just ain't got no business there. Like, I believe in that. And honestly, even not knowing, even though I think Maria's very aware of what she's doing, sometimes not knowing, you could jeopardize your friend's opportunity just by your presence.
I feel like that's her intention.
I feel like it's her intention also. But just in case it's not, because, some people just don't. They just so full of hell, they don't know it. If you know your friend is full of hell, don't invite them. This is what she could have sat out. If she wanted to lay down, like, why I wasn't invited? Girl, we was just, we planning to surprise something for you. I would have lied.
She was on the attack mode from the beginning. When Antoinette came in, like I said earlier, she came in and spoke. She was very negative. She's very negative about that. You know what I'm saying? And then, I don't necessarily feel like the question that Tambra,
who all experienced
presented
racism? Who all experienced
was
racism?
Appropriate, but, I don't feel like it was appropriate, but it was necessary. I will say that. Being the type of show they are on, and the state that they're in, the area, and the time, because we still facing it. You know what I'm saying? So I get that because, you know, mind you, when they were filming, this was right at the height of, like, the George Floyd and all of that stuff that took place last year. So I get the question being asked. I don't feel like it's necessarily appropriate, and I think they knew which way this was going to steer. Meaning that even when Letitia did the affirmations, she did not acknowledge the Caucasian lady, Kaylin.
I'm a beautiful black woman. I mean, I think I'm a white woman. I love Kaylin. I love her.
I do.
I love her. She's a wonderful like representation of the white people I grew up around, honestly. Because these white people I grew up around in an old small ass school, Hatley High School. We were aware that we were different. I mean, we could look at our skin color and tell we were different, but our houses weren't that much different. I mean, the way we were raised wasn't that big of a difference, really.
And I think that's the thing. That's what she was, like, having a struggle with because, like, she's of a generation where you don't see it as much and it's not as, like, easily, you know.
She was like, we don't all feel that way. And I could understand her feeling attacked in a way.
I feel attacked for her.
Because there are some rooms that I sit in.
Because I don't feel like had she not been there, that conversation would have even happened.
Right.
I don't.
Y'all wait till this white girl here that's like, we're going to talk about colorism, racism, and everything else. And it's like, okay. It's like me coming and sitting in a room with people for the first time and they want to talk about black men and they want to talk about gay stuff and they want to talk about whatever minority or group that I belong to. I will feel like, okay, now we have this conversation because of me. If it's a room full of women, they want to bash men.
It's like going to church.
Yeah.
And the pastor want to get with the
he got to talk about
things.
Yeah, it's like
same things. Like
we don't talk about the backdoor booty bandits. I'm just like, and I'm still gonna do what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna come right up there. I'm gonna come right up there. I'm the demon.
Pray for him. You know, he's struggling with his demons.
I'm gonna come right on up there. I'm the demon.
You know, like I feel like again, the question was a great question. I don't know if it was the best question. It was necessary. It was a necessary conversation, and it was a great way to facilitate. You know what I'm saying? Key issues that we are still dealing with, and it was a teachable moment for everybody. But Maria, old dog face ass.
That girl cried. We got to go back through the playback. That girl cried. Her friend, Antoinette, comes outside trying to talk to him, be like, girl, we're not attacking you. I mean, she gave just a small little,
synopsis
of what's going on. And I feel like at the end of it all, the white girl was like, okay, I understand. This is y'all experience. However, I don't feel that way, and a lot of people I know don't really feel that way. But I'm going to come back in, and I'm going to learn. I'm going to use this to learn. And she came in with the mindset of, I'm going to learn.
I think the issue is just in the everyday society, we have this,
we
so ready to dismiss people. Like, as if their feelings are not valid, their emotions are not valid, and they don't have the right to feel the way that they feel.
Because she's privileged. She's a white woman, and she's this. And I will say this, too. Along with privilege comes a level of hatred also. So, because she did come from such a prominent family, there were going to be times, even though you feel like her privilege would have like opened the door, it would have closed a lot of doors for her also.
You know, I think this is what upset me. It shows how ignorant Marie is, because when this girl sat there and said her great granddaddy was Jefferson Davis, the president of the Confederacy back then, yeah. She is of an elite status, and despite what happened then, we're at now. This girl would have been a great individual to like.
Because back in those days, this conversation would have never happened. This opportunity would have never happened.
This is a great person that you would want to pair with. You know what I'm saying? To do business and do great things.
She could have helped
for the
open
community,
up a lot
for
of
the
doors
city,
for
the state, for the whole 9 yards. And I'm like, Marie just so fixated on being who she is, being a bully. The dog and the person, a bully.
And it could have been how they cut it. But it looked like this white girl was like sitting there spilling her feelings. And it's just like, okay. And then like out of nowhere, it's like, okay.
What you saying ain't important.
What you saying
I
ain't
want to get to my girl.
I want to get to my girl.
I want to hear her announcement. My best friend, I want to hear her announcement.
That's like me just over here just break down crying. And you just like, okay, I'm ready to get to I'm like, the girl step in me and cry like, did this
Hold on, this bitch really? I know this bitch just didn't cut me out.
She cut her tears off. She said,
like,
I would have did the same thing. I would have said, I'm emotional, but
it was not necessary.
I'm about to check this bitch for trying me.
It wasn't necessary. And I'm glad Kaylin got off of her ass because she deserved it. And then you got your little pit bull partner over there with you. Look, my friend Marie, Essie, sit your bad built made ass up. Like,
she put her stomach
on
that. She put her stomach on that white girl back. My best friend Marie, Essie, get your stomach out that girl back.
Like, who are you?
First off,
why are you here?
She put her old gut on that white girl back.
I'm tired of you being the second wheel everywhere. Y'all look weird.
I mean, it just seems like Essie tried to fight so hard to look important. You look crazy. You look real crazy.
You look very unimportant.
But that white girl had me tickled. She said that she was like, "Oh, I attacked her."
Right, because again,
she already knew what people were gonna say, right. And I'm the same way.
So let me go on and put it out there for you.
I'm like,
since I know this is what you're gonna say. This is a narrative that you're gonna try to paint.
You're gonna paint. I'm a racist. Like that white girl, she took back power at that moment because she was like, "You're not gonna do this to me."
This is something I want to talk about. You know, because even with this situation, I have to refer back to like the blaxploitation period. We have this thing about being depicted a certain way and then wanting to play victim. We have to stop that. Because even then, to now, it's the same. You cannot do certain things, act certain ways, and then want to play victim.
It reminds me of the Wendy situation from Real Housewives of Atlanta. I mean, Real Housewives of Potomac. When they was like, you can't call dark-skinned women aggressive because that's how they're...
OG. You talking about how you gonna bulldoze somebody over and tackle them, this and that, or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
What do we call aggressive dark-skinned women? I don't know, but not aggressive.
Just find another word.
I'm not looking for synonyms. What I'm looking for synonyms for? The same fucking thing.
Like, that's stupid to me.
That's stupid.
A thing is a thing. And if you get on the show and act aggressive, they're gonna say it. Forget colorism.
Okay.
Because you act as you are, and you are as you act. You are a dark-skinned woman, truth, and you know that. You know your complexion. So if you're going to get out here, whatever connotation, whatever image that they put out there about you, whatever so narrative, you paint it.
And there's so many shades of brown, but ignorance has no color.
And you choose to get out there acting like you act. You're not trying to change the stereotype. You're not trying to.
Ignorance has no color from every hue, color, whatever.
I feel like she owes, at this point, Marie owes the African-American community of Mississippi an apology. She owes Kaylin an apology. You know what I'm saying? Because now... people who are watching this show who don't really know that much about Mississippi.
This is their first taste of Mississippi.
We all like that. We all ignorant. We all uneducated, even with degrees. We always got to be combative and argumentative and act a fool, and that's not the case.
And we always going to be right. We always feel like our point is valid, and the next person is not. You have no right to... My thing is, how can you tell somebody is wrong about how they feel? How will you interrupt somebody?
Oh, this our heritage. This our history. This black history. This our black history.
How you gonna be bad because of black history? How you gonna be bad about heritage? First of all, if it's not taught right, because we black people have suffered from that. First of all, it wasn't even taught right, and it wasn't taught in school a lot. So a lot of black history that we know, we really taught ourselves. To be honest, because even our parents, I'm talking about mine, they didn't teach black history like that. They just did. So once we did learn our heritage, once we did start learning about our culture and stuff like that, we took from that. We messed up with black church and then got out of it what we could.
And this is the thing about racism in Mississippi and just racism in anywhere, because I've stayed in Florida, I've stayed in some places. Racism is what it is.
It is what it is.
And it comes in many forms, many fashions, and many disguises.
It's everywhere.
And your experience might not be my experience.
Because in the South we're almost like taught, or it's kind of like, I ain't gonna say it's taught, but like it's alluded to that you won't deal with racism as bad if you move to the North.
We're trying.
And that's not true.
We're trying to ignore certain things and overlook certain things. We just are.
If you move North, you ain't going to have this problem with racism.
And that's not true.
If you move East, you ain't going to have it. It's just in the South.
Because
it's not true.
This is what I want people to understand. Racism is not just color. It's not just ethnicity. Discrimination is discrimination, period. Point blank. Like, so... And we have blacks who are racist to their own kinds. That's an issue that we do not want to talk about or acknowledge. And that's just what it is. But as far as Kayla's point of view, I feel like this. And this is something we talked about. Back in the day, growing up, owning slaves and all of that, whatever the case may be, and even when that transitioned from that point to just, the help, whatever the case may be, Kaylon's experience compared to a lot of people's experience were not the same. Because in her household, being that she was a prominent elite person in that area, her grandparents, her parents, all of that, they probably literally helped blacks in a way where she didn't see it as racism. She saw it as family.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Family, their hired help who have became our family.
A lot of times back then, you know, you had these Caucasian families putting blacks through college, helping blacks better themselves, build themselves, and take care of their entire families. Right. And that's something that we don't want to acknowledge, understand, or even recognize.
Right.
And I think that's the issue. So her experience could be valid. She did not necessarily experience that. And so it's like for you to shut her down and say, "Oh, girl, that ain't." I'm like, why you doing all this? You know, that girl could have spoken.
We don't care about that.
She could have spoke her piece. Everybody that had time to speak their piece, and y'all could have learned from that experience. Everybody, and moved forward. And then that's somebody y'all could have partnered with to actually make this vision come true. And I'm like, Marie uses every opportunity to sabotage everything she can sabotage.
She is a true bulldozer. I just be like, I knew something was going. I knew this bitch was gonna do.
When it comes to Marie, Bull, I was gonna be in front of everything.
Always.
Bulldog, bulldozer, bully,
bulldagger.
like bulldagger, right? Allegedly. Like, you know.
Well, I mean, every. I promise you, she just reminds me of that friend you can't take nowhere. I don't care how educated a person is. Some motherfuckers you can't take.
You got a lot of educated fools.
What?
You got a lot of educated fools, and she's that.
Where you gonna take her to?
She wears it very proud.
Take her to a dog pound where she belong. Like, put her up. Cause,
she's so feisty and aggressive for no reason. Like, clearly,
I'm gonna talk
her husband ain't getting her no meat at home.
Not at all. And I'm gonna talk about Latrice not showing up.
I don't blame her.
Once you bash my business, or you allow my business to be bashed by your friend.
Something that I build from the ground up.
I ain't coming to nothing else you do.
I can't support you.
I ain't coming to nothing else. I don't care if you invite me to your funeral. I want to attend.
Something that I built from the ground up. You know what I'm saying? And it's like to sit there and allow it to go on, and then be like, "Well, y'all know my friend Marie. Y'all know how she is." That's not acceptable.
That's not a good excuse. That's just like, oh, well, you know how she do. You know how she get down. No,
because all it takes is for that idea to be, you know, presented on TV. People to say, "Oh, she's a bad businesswoman. She doesn't conduct herself well. She doesn't care about customer service. All this and that," and then her business or her brand is tarnished forever. So for you to allow it, even as a friend or somebody who's trying to work with Latrice, for your vision to come alive, I wouldn't want to fuck with you.
Exactly.
That's just how I feel about it.
Be like, nope. And my thing is, even when that stuff happened with Marie talking to Latrice about her hair at the damn brunch, she gonna say in her confessional, I came to her as a customer.
No, you didn't.
Do it look like you was in her store? Does it look like that woman said the business hours are? And I would do that the same fucking
8 to 5. And she told her exactly right.
I would have done that the same way. Business hours.
She's intimidated by them. She doesn't like the way that they like.
You never come after anybody that you feel like has lower success than you.
They have a sense of decorum. They handle themselves very well, and she does not like that about them. She's so intimidated by them.
You intentionally, and I'm not saying that woman Essie is ugly, but you intentionally got somebody who kind of look like you.
Equal.
Yeah, like it was an intentional thing. Cause I feel like even with Essie, you could have found someone who was probably more educated and someone who had more networking power. You chose her just cause like image wise, I mean we look about the same.
But in her
I'm
mind,
a darker version.
In her mind, she looked better though.
Right.
In Marie's mind, she still look better than Essie. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. But I don't like this stereotype that they're putting on the TV about them. They're allowing themselves to be painted as aggressive and mean girls. Like, that's not always necessary. The purpose of the show is now being taken away. And I understand y'all doing this for ratings, but you have to think about later. And this is one of the first times, other than the Dancing Dolls being put on TV, that Mississippi is truly getting the opportunity. So we just went through that with Diana and them and all the buffoonery that Whitney and them went through. You know what I'm saying? And how bad that turned out in the end.
Right.
Why recycle that? You know what I'm saying? Show something different.
Because this ignorance that was shown, I'm like, it just didn't have, it was no reason for it. She could have let Kaylon speak. And when she was done speaking, the moment had died down and be like, okay, well, we had that moment. It's good. We learned. Move forward. why are you being rude for no reason? And not even just rude, you're challenging her almost to a fight. Like,
Oh, yeah.
come on outside, come on outside. And so the girl said,
you need to leave. You need to leave. You gotta go.
And Kayla said,
let my name taste like poop in your mouth. Like, what?
Kayla said, okay, you want me to go? Come here.
That shut her down. That ate her up.
That's me.
That ate her up.
That's me. Because I know people who do all this, they ain't gonna move. They ain't gonna move.
That ate her up.
They ain't gonna move.
And again, depicting yourself as aggressive, you gotta stand up and do all that. Like, you cannot
I'm glad
accountability.
Kayla treated her like the dog that the bitch at. Like, come here.
So don't get on no platform, don't get nowhere and media telling us, oh, they painted me this way. You're doing that to yourself.
Look, you can't say a person who claimed that they about it, like they so aggressive, they ready to fight. Somebody say, come here.
I'll be in your face.
She
swinging.
She get your
ready.
She punked your ass. She let everybody know you ain't nothing but a talker. And that girl was scared off. She said, come here.
Either I'm gonna be ready, either you gonna be ready. Somebody gonna feed these hands.
And she called that bitch a nobody. 2 seconds later, I'm trying to hear my girl. I want to hear my girl's speech. I want to hear what she got going on. Okay, she's a nobody. And I don't know if that nobody was for Letitia
it was
for Marie.
It was for Marie. It was for Marie.
Because when she said it, it was like, oh, she's a nobody. I didn't know who it was for.
It was for Marie.
So Marie over there, Letitia over there, you don't call somebody a nobody. Then that's when
Tambra, and I'm like,
Dorothy or Martha Davis, whoever the old lady was, she over there talking about some, all this disrespect. Oh, I said, well, she said
and
down.
Councilman was like, deuces.
I gotta go.
Because I still got a reputation to uphold.
Oh, right. He said,
like,
I'm out of here.
It's probably the white people that even put him in his position. Because black folk don't really like to go out and vote. Let's talk about it. Let's be honest. So, at the end of the day, and knowing who this girl is, she Jefferson Davis' great-granddaughter. That's a lot.
That's
a lot.
She
That's a lot.
had this moment to, and what the girl said, she had this moment to learn. They had a moment to learn from her.
And bridge a gap that was where there was a disconnect.
Because my thing is, this is facts. It shouldn't be this way, but it's truthful, okay? White people sometimes feel more comfortable. If you're a black person and you are more elite, they feel like your words are more valid. They feel like these words are protected. Yeah, like they're protected in that. Now, if she had went to a room full of hoodlums, as they call them, or hood niggas, bitch, she would have never said a word about nothing. She would have just been so scared. She would have been like this. The fact that she was vulnerable enough to even hear these people out and want to learn from them, you should have gave her what she was wanting in the moment. She didn't ask to be disrespected. She's sitting here literally trying to learn, take it in, digest it. Like, if you don't have the same experience, you can't learn until you get around people who have that experience.
This is true.
You cannot. Like, even for me, there's a lot of things that I would not have learned had I not got around other people who, like, especially, let's say, for instance, Native American people. What they call them? Indigenous people. So my thing is, growing up, we literally down the road had a school where their mascot was like the Seminoles, Indians and shit. And we the Tigers, we're going to eat them Indians up. Why did we not see nothing wrong with this shit in the moment?
Because I'm crazy.
We see nothing wrong with it. But there's still people who got like their mascot or whatever, Indians and this and that. Like, it's not right.
Yeah. There's... Not this is the thing that I had to learn just growing up. Not everybody is as diverse,
Facts.
And so it takes experiences and teachable moments so you can understand all sides of the aisle.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And to understand different people's perspectives, outlooks, and their upbringing. Because again, you have acquired behavior, you have learned behavior. So the way you taught and what you learn versus being in your house can be different, but you have to go through those phases. And we are so set in a mentality, what you learn, you got to stick with it.
You got to stick with it.
Stick
to that.
Take consideration when it comes to like political views.
I was just about to touch on that.
Democrat versus Republican. You got to be taught and trained a certain way. You can't go outside of that
If you get outside of that, something wrong with you. I'm not even going to say my one view that differs from Democratic. But I got a major view that's just gonna always differ from there. But my thing is, I won't ever sit in a room arguing about it. I'll say how I feel, but I'm not gonna dismiss how you feel about certain subjects. Cause I know even when we were talking about Black Lives Matter, people got so mad at us when it was like, Black lives do matter. And we're not saying that shouldn't be like a mantra. We're not saying that shouldn't be something that's said over and over again. But when it comes down to making laws, we don't make laws just for Black people. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work that way. Laws of the land is for everybody on that land. And we had a lot of people who were just, bitching and whining and trying to act like they just, I don't even know what you would call it. Like, they were just hoteps and they're just such these
I'll never forget.
Black power fists.
I'll never forget when I was in undergrad and we was in some political science. I think it was political science. It was one of those courses I was taking. And we talked about, lawmaking and, ways to prevent things happening to Black people. And we got on the subject of being racially profiled. And I spoke of my first experience of being racially profiled. I'll never forget it. I was literally a senior high school, leaving work at Wendy's, not even 3 miles from my house, pulling out the parking lot to get pulled over by a white officer who had to call for backup with 2 other patrol cars that had 2 other officers in each of the cars. So I'm out there by myself at 1 o'clock at night, literally had just pulled out of Wendy's parking lot on 82. And you got to call up for backup, and there's 5 police officers surrounding my vehicle now, at 1 o'clock in the morning. My work uniform on, my name tag on. But because I was in a nice car, my story was not believable enough or valid enough that I had just left work.
Because you're a drug dealer.
Because it was a car with rims on it. You know what I'm saying? A sports car with rims on it. And that was the most, that was the scariest experience of my life. And luckily, I was able to have my mom on the phone during that. You know what I'm saying? It was just unbelievable to experience that. So, and, wanted to search my car, telling me they know I got drugs in the car, trying to find a reason to give me a ticket. Insurance valid, driver license valid, everything legit.
Is that a thing in Mississippi?
But it is.
Why is that a thing? I had that pretty much same thing happen to me. Why is it a thing? It's like, if they can't find it, they're like, we know you got drugs in here. How do you know that? Like, that what makes me angry with these people.
So, sitting in class telling my story, the Caucasian counterparts in the class it was hard for them to believe and digest. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't see racism the way we see it because they don't experience what we experience. And until they experience racism in their own form and rarity, it's hard for them to understand it. That's just what it is. So with me expressing my story and telling my story in that class, we were able to have a teachable moment. I'll never forget Professor Brian Anderson was able, because he was very diverse in everything. He was able to showcase them my point of view. Yeah. And I not be offended and they not be offended. You know what I'm saying? We were able to actually talk it out and they could understand. And then in that moment, they were able to change their views in the ways that they go about doing things because they didn't necessarily understand some of the things that they were doing might have been racist. The way that
because you learn what you want. You learn what you open your mind to learning. If you keep your mind shut and closed, you'll never learn anything new. Sometimes it's just a choice in the matter of am I going to open my mind up to see this person's view or not? Yeah. Because, even with me in my situation with police officers, whatever, I went and I had, where was I? I think I was leaving work. I had my scrubs on, still had my name tag on, all that. That man was it was 2 in the morning because I stayed over for a little while. This man said, where you headed? I'm headed home. Bro was like, where you been at? I have on scrubs, a name tag.
That's not good enough.
A whole name tag, nigga.
I showed my clock out sheet.
It's stupid. So the man was like, well, you had me on a high-speed chase. I see your lights and I pulled over, nigga. You were going 100 miles per hour. Really? Yeah. And I'm just sitting here
whatever narrative they can paint to get you put in jail because you're African-American, they'll do it.
It was so stupid. When the other officers came, I'm just sitting there if he had to go on a high-speed chase, and I'm like, where did you turn your blue lights on? Oh, just right there. If I was doing 100 miles per hour, we're going to only be right here. It made no sense. It just sounded stupid. It was getting stupider and stupid by the moment. So eventually they was like, well, I mean, I smell weed. You don't smell shit. Anybody who know me, I don't smoke. I just don't smoke. So he like, I smell weed in your car. I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and give you the right to search my car. Only reason I gave him that right because I felt like it was gonna get worse. Had I just stayed in the car and I'm like, you can't search my car, it was gonna get worse. They would have shot me for whatever reason they came up with. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And I feel like for the show, with what transpired at the end of the episode, for me, was a teachable moment that was a missed opportunity. You know what I'm saying? That would have been a great way to showcase viewers that
Mississippi is moving forward.
We're moving forward and there is a progression. But because of what they saw or what viewers see, they're still going to have the mindset that we're 20 years behind.
Mm-hmm. They're going to be like, okay, this is... Because only thing people even associate with Mississippi 9 times out of 10 because of media is color purple.
Color purple. And, I love
Y'all got malls?
I love watching, other, bloggers or whatever, but it does do something to me, and I love Funky Dineva. Mm-hmm. But the stereotype that Mississippi is nothing but a bunch of country bumpkins. Like,
okay,
you know what I'm saying?
That statement.
I never forget, like, back in, 2007, my cousin Dominique, her girlfriend at the time, sisters and them was, from, where they were staying, in California. Mm-hmm. And it offended Dominique so because they was like, oh, I ain't coming to Mississippi. I ain't finna come down there with all them country bumpkins. You know what I'm saying? And I heard that for 2-3 weeks.
What is a country bumpkin? I never looked this up. What is that?
Just a country person. I guess you're supposed to be walking around in overalls with a straw hanging out your mouth. I don't know.
Deuce has the type of shit.
You know what I'm saying? But that stereotype, it is we have to change that. It is y'all have the platform now,
right? To change
it, and you're not even taking advantage of it.
Because people kill me when they be like, well, people from Mississippi, they talk slow and they do this. I'm like, every place has its accent and there's a dialect that belongs to every place. You go to New Orleans, because I just posted a video about it. Everything is a cold drink. Yeah. Everything is a motherfucking cold drink. No matter what it is, a fucking cold drink. Right. But I'm not going to say, oh, that's ignorant, that's dumb. That's what they've done their whole life. That's just what they do. There's nothing wrong with that.
Back in the day, soda pop.
Soda pop. Soda pop.
You have your own little thing, but we can't dismiss people's heritage.
Not at all.
We can't dismiss their experiences. We can't dismiss any of that. We have to actually acknowledge it and try to learn from it.
And we can't say, okay, and this is the thing, too. Even if something looks racist, and I had to teach myself this, even if it may have appeared to be racist or it looked racist, it's not always racism. Even if you apply for a job and you don't get it, because that's the one thing that Letitia brought up. I mean, I applied for a job and we both had the same accolades and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You could have been doing too much in the interview.
She doesn't have the same level. I don't feel like she would have had the same level of professionalism. She is not as politically correct.
Not at all.
So depending on the profession or the career it was, I could see why they chose somebody else over her.
Because I'm looking like, I wouldn't choose you to work for me.
Now being on the show, if this is the best it is for you now, looking like you looking and dressing like you looking, dressing like you dressing, I would understand.
I look back at when you talking about that's the best wig she had on. I'm like, this wig?
It was the best for me. Mm-mm. It was the best because everything else she done done. I don't see it for her.
That wig didn't have nobody lace. That wig was straight up hair stole. It was just tracks.
But I told you everything she would come out of beauty mark somewhere. I told you that now.
It looked awful. I'm like, no.
I told you everything she give me is beauty mark hair.
She dressed bad. I'm gonna tell you who she remind me of. The shit that I really. She gives me
a character off of Tyler Perry play.
Yes, and I was gonna be mean, but I ain't gonna do it to the Church of God in Christ. Oh. But the way she dressed is very Church of God in Christ. Y'all can fight me. I don't give a shit about it. Y'all wear these dresses that look like older women dresses, and you be young and still wear these dresses that look like older women dresses, and you put a big ass bow right here. The bow almost bigger than your fucking shoulder. Why?
Disclaimer that ain't got to do with
I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Because in her mind, when she thinks of because I know the show's named Belle Collective and Southern Bells, and they just feel like they got to have these big ass hats. You really don't have to do all of that. That is a whole lot of foolishness. And I don't know how I would feel if I'm walking in a place and I see this foolishness.
I think what they're trying to do, and this is what concerns me, they've taken from like Real Housewives of Atlanta and other places and tried to recreate instead of just being original. Because I'm like, it does not take.
It looks.
You not Phaedra. You know what I'm saying?
You not, and y'all look silly. Really, they're taking the Southern Belle and they're taking it too far. They will have maybe an event and they'll do that. Not every single time y'all meet up, y'all dress like that. That's a little.
I want to see y'all do a community service. I want to see y'all giving back to the community. I want to see y'all actually in the community.
Right.
Y'all have yet to show that. I'm gonna give y'all grace and time because this is only episode 4. But I feel like so much more y'all can showcase.
Because Tamara is the only one who really showed, and that's her being connected to the radio station, honestly. But she's about the only one when she was talking to like the mayor down there and stuff like that. But that's just part of her career, her profession. I mean, she really ain't got no choice but to do so. But I feel like there's so much more y'all could be doing. You trying to like rebuild and recreate this street or whatever. Honestly, you could do something else. The money that y'all gonna invest into that, y'all could literally go somewhere right outside of Jackson and y'all could build ground up something even better than what you're trying to purchase. So that in itself, to a developer and to a person who does finance or anything like that, they're gonna look at her and be like, that's a bad deal.
Any developer would appreciate you trying to revitalize, since she like
they appreciate
that area if it made sense.
If it made sense.
And if you actually had a good legitimate business plan, but you don't.
And you don't have the coin to do so. I feel like honestly, with the way it's set up, like in that area, because I mean she didn't go and talk about any other buildings and what they would cost. But I'm sure it'd be a whole lot cheaper than that building. And that's what she probably should. I mean, that way your business started to make sense. As far as like trying to like, if she wanted to just bring that building back to code and just let it be used for its historic whatever.
Why not turn it into a museum?
Right. If she was gonna use it for some tourist or whatever, the city or whatever will help and pitch in and pay for that. They can raise money for that, but they're not gonna raise no money for no brunch center. For you to sell cold ass chicken and waffles, no one cares about that. Maybe the shrimp and grits hot. I don't know, but the rest of that shit look amazing.
I don't know, child. Last time I had shrimp and grits, I don't know. But anyways. Anyways, you know what I'm saying, y'all? I mean, but
I think that's about it, though.
We wanted to come to y'all and get y'all view, y'all take, and feel happy to like tell us about your experiences of racism. If you are from Mississippi, wherever you're from, like. Your experiences of everything that you ever deal with. Discrimination, racism, your view on the show as of right now, how you feel about it. Do you feel like this show will get a second season? Do you feel like they have the right cast on the show? Like, what is your take about it right now? Who do you like? Who do you not like on the show? Like, give us some feedback. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
And
I feel like they should have had some type of celebrity guest here and there on the show. That would have helped the show a little bit.
Again, I'm going to give them grace because we are in the middle of, like, when they filmed this, they was in the middle of a pandemic. So, I'm going to give them grace. I mean, I like what I see so far. There's certain people I don't like on the show. I don't feel like they're a good fit for the show and the representation of what they're trying to portray. That's my only issue. But, again, y'all give us y'all feedback. Let us know what you think. Do you like the show? Who do you like on the show? And also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. This is